Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube channel. And it's Saturday, so that means it's Star Trek time. And we're back talking about two-parters. And we're getting close to the end of Voyager. We've only got three more two-parters after this. But this, ladies and gentlemen, this is one that I think nobody likes to talk about. But it exists, so I suppose we must. And it's called Unimatrix Zero.
I have A positive.
You have A positive?
I have A positive, but
okay.
we'll get to that.
This to me is worse than Basics. It's worse than everyone who always talks about that the Threshold episode where Tom and Janeway turn into lizards. They always say that one's horrible. No, this one's worse.
This one, they turned into lizard brains.
Yeah. This one is kind of, it's like they took the idea of that virus that the crew of Next Gen gave to Hugh.
Wait, that's it. Hugh.
Yeah, exactly. And then they took the idea about, Data dreaming, and then they smashed them together.
We could totally reuse those concepts.
Yeah, and then what if the Borg had that problem?
Yeah.
So I'd like to show you guys something. This is something I never do during the Star Trek stream, but this episode is so fucking bad. You see that?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'm drinking that. That's ice wine.
Oh, that's ice wine. Okay. I couldn't figure out what was in it.
That's my bottle of ice wine. That's what I got that for a Christmas present.
You had to get high for this, basically.
I have my green and I have my wine.
Okay.
And now I'm ready to talk about how stupid this episode.
I kind of have... I share probably all of both your dissatisfaction with this, but it might be for a slightly different reason. Because I thought the basic idea of this could have been good.
It could have been. It so could have been.
And so I'm sitting there and I'm watching it, and the first couple of scenes disappoint me. It's like, where are the writers? What have you done with them? And I kept getting disappointed, and I thought, okay, but they're going to do it right because there's just so much good with this. And then I remember getting to the scene where the Borg Queen was looking over the entirety of the thing with the little boy, and I thought, they can't mess this up. This is so good, such evil with such innocence. They can't fuck it up. They fucked it up.
Yep.
Nothing happens. Absolutely nothing happens. It's done as a transition scene, and she just says, I've looked it over. It's very primitive. Fuck right off. You had the chance to hit it out of the park right there. You could have had this Hannibal Lecter field dialogue, with the little boy. Are you my friend? Yes, I'm your friend. And they started.
We are all your friends.
I have my mother and father with me. I can hear their thoughts right now. Would you like to hear your mother's and father's thoughts? And they started to go down that, and then all of a sudden the scene was over. And you just went, what? And that summarizes my feelings about this.
What?
I kept waiting for something interesting to happen. The other thing was that the business about going after the Borg, and when a commanding officer gives you an order, it's not a fucking debate.
No.
Okay. The executive officer is not there to give you their opinion. The executive officer is there to tell you, okay, Captain, here's what we're going to have to do to execute your orders.
Yeah. Chakotay is horrible for that.
Chakotay, that guy's wearing me out, seriously. And anyway, so that was another thing that just the command structure doesn't make any sense to me. The way that
that's not really been entirely true in the Trek universe, though, because you've heard many times Riker say, "It's my job to bring all the options to the captain."
Yeah.
Yes,
but
Riker
that's not the way it works on a Navy ship, and that's my experience.
But even in Riker's case, when Riker brings the options to Picard, he brings them to him in an executive officer style. If that makes any sense.
Yes, yeah.
He comes
and
to
then
Captain
Picard
Picard.
chooses what he's going to do, and that's the end of the debate. There's no second guessing. There's no trying to improve what the captain was trying.
I don't think Will.
Yeah,
I don't think Will ever tried to go Patrick Stewart. I don't think Will Riker ever meant to say, Jean-Luc, you're wrong.
Yeah.
He never said. I don't think he ever actually said. The only time he came close to that was when Picard got possessed by that cloud thingy. And even then he was like, it was Beverly that ended up saying the words, "I relieve you of command."
Jean-Luc Picard, deem you be.
Yeah,
I remember that part.
that was Will Riker never openly says.
Kind of ignoring the backstory of the character, so by saying that, because Riker is brought up to be a first officer and eventually a commander.
Yeah,
but Chakotay has already been a captain, and he's already been
that's a really good point. I forgot about that.
And he's already been an outlaw. So if you take that background, he's going to give her shit.
That's true.
He's going to think he's equal, and he's going to think that his opinion is valid. So that would be along his character lines to do that.
I mean,
it doesn't make him a good executive officer.
No, it doesn't.
No, it does not.
Tuvok really should have been her chief of security and first officer.
Yeah, although it's hard to do too.
He should have never been in the show.
Tuvok could have handled
it. Tuvok should have been in it. Tuvok would be an excellent XO. He'd be awesome. But anyway, I know I'm in a minority. Nobody else likes Tuvok.
Speaking of Tuvok, what did you think of that little scene where he had to freaking ridiculously fight assimilation? That was
it looked like a high school assembly.
Yeah.
It's skit. We're gonna put on a skit. We'll get some old curtains. It was amateurish. The whole thing was amateurish. I just kept seeing, drama class at UCLA, junior year, over and over again.
And even Kate Mulgrew was like kind of rigid in that episode. Like even when the Borg Queen's just like killing off all the cubes.
Yeah. That's a great point. Why didn't she just say, "Good, I'm good, I'm down"?
Yeah, you're ending their suffering.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep going,
Good
Borg
for
Queen.
You. Take yourself out.
Loving your style. Start self-destruct sequence. She should have been on board for that. Instead, I want to save the life. Really defeat yourself much? Come on.
Blind and Skep would be great at CinemaSins.
We would.
What did you say?
I think. Have you seen CinemaSins ever, Skep?
No, I have not.
Well, okay. Recently, they've kind of gone to shit. Except for their review of Bird Box, I finally watched it on Pink Hollow's recommendation.
It's like science fiction theater.
It is to some extent, like
sort
in
of.
3K, yeah.
It basically looks at movies and talks about everything wrong with them, and they try to keep it under
CinemaSins. I have watched this.
They try to keep it under like 20 minutes or something like that. It's they've started going to shit recently, but their older stuff is great.
I watched their stuff. It seems like a year or so ago.
Yeah, that's what it was.
For some reason, I got out of the habit of watching them, and I don't know why. I don't remember why.
It's a great review of movies, but I really enjoy the end part. After he's actually reviewed the movie and come to a conclusion, he'll go back to the movie, to certain scenes, and compare them to other scenes and other TV shows or other movies. He did one on the Avengers, and there's a part in the. You okay?
Yep. I went down the wrong way.
All right. There's a part where they're on the helicarrier.
There's one of them you drink and one of them you inhale.
Yeah, I went backwards.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean. I just had to get that joke.
No, you're right though. I went backwards. I attempted to breathe the wine, and that doesn't work too well.
Sorry, Henry. Go ahead. Keep going, bud.
You okay, Blind?
Yeah, I'm fine.
All right. There's a scene where they're on the helicarrier, and it's Stark and the Hulk, and they're just talking to each other, and there's a slow pan from the left side of the room to the right side of the room, real slow as they're talking. Mm-hmm. And what he does is he takes the music from House MD and plays in the background. Because it looks like a lab from the TV show House MD.
Very good.
if you didn't know House, you would be like, "What's that music?" But I know House. That's one of my favorites. I'm like, "That's that song. I know that song." That's that song.
Oh man, my wife and I are big House fans. We watched a lot of House. We got out of the habit. I don't know if it's been canceled or what.
Oh, it's long canceled. They've 8 seasons.
Yeah, we watched probably 5 years of it. While it was on, when it was really popular.
But anyway, yeah.
So Hammer, let me guess. You thought this episode should have been a one episode, if at all an episode.
No, they should never have brought this to production.
They shouldn't have made this.
Yeah, I'm even a little bit more skeptical than their regular 2-part approach to their shows. Is that this should never have been made in the first place, let alone be a 2-parter.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. And like Skep said, it could have been a really good idea.
If they would have kept it to 1 part, filmed it as it was, kept it to 1 part, and just ended it at the end of the first part, that would have been a good show. Because the beginning, the first half of this isn't bad. It's hey, we got this place and blah 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 blah, and people are there, and they should have just won at the end of the first episode, and that should have been it. Yeah. The whole thing with them going into a second, and now they're being captured and assimilated, all that stuff. No, none of that stuff should have happened.
But they have to have a cliffhanger,
Yeah.
And have the cliffhanger.
Yeah, it's.
Do you want to hear my good thing?
What's your good thing?
My good thing. My good thing is, and you saw this briefly in Equinox. Jerry Ryan's a pretty girl.
Mm.
When she is not 7 of 9, and even when she is, I mean, 7 of 9 is pretty sexualized, but she isn't portrayed as being particularly beautiful as 7 of 9. But in this one, she gets rid of all the crap, and they put her in a little bit of a little bit of shooting makeup instead of her Borgified outfit. She's a pretty girl. Holy crap!
I did enjoy the. I suppose my good thing about this kind of parallels yours is that the interesting arc between like Janeway trying to be like, why don't you try to be a little bit more like Annika, like right. when this is done, and Seven's like, no. It's like an interesting, and you get to see like
it's good that they did that though.
It is, but you get to see like the person she could be.
Yeah, every once in a while you get that glimpse of.
And then she's like, "No, fuck that. I don't want to be that."
Yeah, you see it in this too because she turns him down. They were lovers. Oh well, we're not gonna do that no more.
Yeah.
So I mean, good.
And she said, "We were more than friends."
Yeah.
And that was kind of a nice moment.
Yeah. But I mean, those little flashes of her, I guess, playing the part of Annika, really?
Yeah.
Or being at least more human than Borg for a change. They're really nice scenes to see. And it's good that they made her, no, I'm a Borg, okay? Or I'm a post-Borg and I'm not a human. It certainly switches up what you would expect. But every once in a while, getting that well, I actually really am human. I just don't want to admit it to myself kind of deal.
Yeah.
And seeing the human part of her is very endearing.
It is.
Yeah.
They should have done it more often. Anyway, that was my good part, is that you get a chance to see her really as a woman as opposed to being a Borgette.
A Borgette. I like that term. Borgette is a good term.
Yeah.
One thing I did like the Queen Borg. I like this Queen Borg
They've
better
picked
than the other Queen Borg.
they picked a good
Doppelganger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she looks really close to Alice Krige.
She does. Yeah, and she sounds a lot closer. Like her voice is a lot more similar to Alice Krige than the other one.
Than the other one, who I can't remember the name of.
Neither can I.
Yeah, this felt like an authentic Borg Queen. That's all I was going to say.
There has to be a certain amount of arrogance to the Borg Queen, and this actress you really felt that with her.
Susanna Thompson.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Right.
But they look very close. So anyway.
God, this episode I hated so much. I
know. I'd kill it with fire. when the final music came up, I just went, "Thank you, God." and I have liked watching all the other ones, even the one or two that I didn't care for that much. They had good moments in them, entertaining moments. This had in 2 hours of watching, had maybe 2 entertaining moments and like 10 disappointments where I just went, "Oh, you blew that. Oh, you blew that.
Yeah.
You blew that. No, I didn't. No, I could have taken advantage of that, but no. Oh, bad scene with the doctor. What a surprise." Yeah. So there you go.
It's true. And they really misused pretty much everything. The atmosphere, the concept
of the resistance.
Yeah.
The way the resistance was formed. Boy, that was real believable. Not.
Like, had they continued on the Hugh story and made it seem like that had reached the Delta Quadrant through the hive mind, which would have made a lot more sense.
It would have been a lot more straightforward, but they like to take you through all the changes, all the weirdness.
Yeah. And what was with that freaking live dissection of a Borg, like Borg torture? Yeah. Like, are you trying to
dismantle him?
Like, are you supposed to feel sorry for the Borg now? Like, that was a weird episode because, first of all, like in Trek, we've been taught that the Borg are bad, right? Like, even ex-Borg are supposed to feel shame for the things that they've done,
right?
Out of Borg, right?
Because they're completely amoral.
And now you've got Unimatrix Zero, and you've got a group of Borg that return to their species, like the species they were they're
it's summer camp for Borg.
And it's like, so what Borg do you hate and what Borg are okay?
Yeah.
Like, what? It was a weird.
It's too big of an ask.
They're always conscious too. I don't understand how they can be always conscious. Because when they're not in their alcove, they're conscious, and when they get in their alcove, they dream and they're conscious. So when do these people sleep? You know.
Well, when do they go through a regeneration cycle? Because like 7 of 9, needs 3 hours a day.
So they regenerate while they're awake. That doesn't make any sense.
That's not canon. That's not right. Doesn't feel
not canon.
What? How can that be canon?
I know. I just funny to hear canon in the Star Trek show.
You see 7 of 9 when she's regenerating, she's not. It's obvious she's not conscious. So how can these people be freaking
their subconscious mind?
Maybe they're like, I guess, dreaming.
Not buying it. Not gonna buy it. Wouldn't be prudent.
Wouldn't be prudent.
Not doing it. You can't make me believe that shit. Nope.
So yeah, I don't know. I like I said, I think if they would have just ended it after the first show and just made them kind of find a frequency the Borg couldn't get to, kind of deal. But no matter how much they adapted, they would adapt faster or something where they could not be defeated, and they would just cheered at the end and like, yeah, we won, and that would have been the episode. That would have been great.
When the Borg measured it, it caused it to change, and you could even invoke a nice Heisenberg,
Right. Looking at it causes it to change.
Everybody has a nerdgasm, I know what Heisenberg is.
Pretty soon it gets pretty big, and I really think they should have ended it after the first. Shouldn't have made it 2 episodes. But
and that Klingon Borg was really annoying.
Well, Klingons are annoying. Borg are annoying. So yeah, Klingon Borg, absolutely.
Klingon Borg is gonna suck.
double annoying.
Dude. Thanks for helping, but you're an asshole.
Yeah.
At least he handed out bat lists to everybody. That was nice. That was nice of him.
Have a bat list.
Bat list for everybody. You get a bat lift, and you get a bat lift, and you get a bat lift.
Yeah.
Look under your seats, everyone.
Do his Oprah impression.
Got swag bags for everybody.
Holy shit, this stuff is sweet.
Oh, that wine you're drinking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wine?
Sure you drink wine.
It's ice wine, so the way they make it is they freeze the grapes. The grapes freeze on the vine, and then they harvest them and smush them.
I hate it when my grapes freeze. Anyway.
It's uncomfortable. I had a girlfriend like that too.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Star Trek stream, where we talk about Star Trek and frozen nuts with innuendo.
Nuts too? I thought we were on grapes.
Grape nuts.
Grape nuts. So
all the puns were free today.
Yes, exactly. So, I also wanted to ask Skep, did you get a chance to watch that Child's Play episode before you watched Unimatrix Zero?
No, I did not.
Okay.
Was I supposed to do that?
I said it would
assigned?
it wasn't really assigned. I said that it might make more sense as to why the hell there are children on the ship now. But because I'm sure you were like, where did the Borg kids come from?
Well, yeah, as a matter of fact, I was sitting there thinking, okay, assimilating kids into the Borg. Why didn't I know about this? I did think that for a moment. Then I went, oh, this is so disappointing. I'm going to wipe it from my memory banks anyway. So why were I guess I should just watch Child's Play. And I'll
quick summary. Voyager finds a damaged ship that is occupied by only a few Borg because the rest
was it damaged? Was it 847 too? I forget.
No, it was a lightning storm, I believe.
Oh, they ran into the Nexus.
Something like that. But basically all of the Borg died except for a few that were saved in the maturation chambers. So these Borg then were released from the maturation chambers because the ship was damaged.
Borg babies.
So
they were premature Borglets.
Yeah, they were not fully formed. They were like adolescent Borg.
Okay. So,
and that episode is all about Voyager encountering these adolescent Borg and the.
That sounds like it might be a pretty decent episode.
It actually is.
I will definitely check that out.
It's a good episode.
It's
much better than this one.
No.
But that bar's not very high.
That's a dim candle. Yeah.
How many more two-parters do we have to do?
We've got Flesh and Blood, Workforce, and the finale.
Okay.
And then we got
Endgame. Is that what that is?
Yeah. And then we go into DS9.
DS9, which I have made considerable progress on.
I have a suggestion off topic.
What's that?
After we get done doing all our 2-parters, we go back and pick favorite episodes.
I agree.
That sounds great. From any or from
any
Voyager,
series,
or...
I would think.
We should go in order.
Yeah, let's do that.
Take a couple from this and then a couple from that.
We'll each get a favorite. We'll each take turns.
That's a good idea. Yeah. Because if we're just going, if there's too much whiplash between, series.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll each pick. Yeah. So we'll do the original series, and we'll each take we'll go from in order from original series onward, and we'll each get to pick.
Oh God, I gotta pick a favorite from the original episode. Holy shit!
Maybe we could pick a couple.
Less than 5.
Maybe we can pick a couple. Maybe we can pick a couple each.
Sure.
And we can do it each stream. We can talk about, okay, this was Hammer's week, and his 2 favorite episodes were X and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually a really good idea.
I have to put a reserve in on Voyager, though. The episode where the ship gets shattered into different time frames.
Deadlock, not Deadlock.
I want that episode. That's my episode.
That's fine. I don't really like that episode.
Anyway.
What my other good thing about this episode is you get to see more Delta Flyer.
I saw. I was thinking about the Delta Flyer.
Anytime you get to see Delta Flyer,
yeah,
I'm happy.
I have a problem with Delta Flyer.
What's wrong with Delta Flyer?
You look at it from the outside, and it looks like the size of a shuttlecraft. But then when they get inside it, it's got multiple decks and a kitchen and a bathroom and a scanning station.
It's a runabout inside.
10 seats, and it's just like, what the fuck? This is not this big of a ship.
They made it a runabout on the inside and a freaking...
Yeah,
it's Doctor Who. It's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside.
Right. Yeah. It uses improbability drive. It's straight out of Hitchhiker's Guide.
What?
At one point, it was both a whale and a bowl of petunias.
Yeah. What a great movie. Isn't that a great movie?
It's just one of the very best.
I fell in love with, what's her face? The girl? Zoe Deschanel.
Yeah.
Zoe Deschanel. Trillium.
Oh my God.
Trillium is.
Yeah, I fell in love with her in that movie. She was just awesome.
We all did.
Anyway, but yeah, I mean, there's something about the Delta Flyer. I just can't pin it down because of a runabout looks big, and it is big. It looks big. It's got some transporters, all kinds of, and it's separated. It's got a forward deck and an aft, and it's the warp nacelles stick out, and they're long and large. It looks big. Yeah, it's just short of a captain's yacht. It's a pretty big device. But you look at the Delta Flyer, and it looks like a Type 2 shuttlecraft. It looks like a shuttlecraft from the Enterprise, if not smaller, until you get inside of it. And then it's like, whoa, where'd all this room come from?
That is actually true. And that actually registered with me. I thought, man, they got a lot more room in there than I thought that it was going to have from the outside. Because they give you a great shot of it from the outside before you get a shot inside. And you kind of go, okay, that's going to have about 4 or 6 seats in it. And
I didn't even get that. I got 2 seats out of it looking at the outside.
Yeah.
2 front seats, that's it. But,
you get the point that I'm making.
Yeah.
Is that it was going to be cramped in, just maybe a couple of 4 people. And get in there, and they've got a kitchen, they've got a
captain's cabin,
jacuzzi and pool.
So you go to the back and you turn right and go down steps.
Yeah. Yes.
No, why don't you go to the back and also turn left and go down? Why is there only room on the right hand side of the ship? Why is it so unbalanced?
Because they didn't have time to put an extra wing on because the Malon were gonna beat them. Right. So they had to make it an L shape.
It just
an L shape runabout.
It's Polydub.
Now we're fucked.
Hello, Polydub.
His microphone never works right away when he joins.
That's true.
He has to mess with it. But it's nice having you here in spirit anyway, Polly.
Mhm. Of course, his avatar will be the main avatar for the show tonight. After we're done, and you go back and look at it at the show, his
is that because he has the highest quality of avatar?
I have no idea what it is.
Pixel density.
I'm
just guessing.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Bye, Polly.
Bye, Polly. Oh my.
He is in the process, or soon to begin the process, of redoing his machine. So he'll be able to get rid of all these little.
Hello.
There we go.
So would you like to take a turn ripping apart Unimatrix Zero?
Jesus.
Because we've already skewered it pretty well, but to add your voice.
I lost track of the time. I was actually just watching Enterprise, the Andorian incident, and painting minis, and so I've gone from like good Star Trek to
awful Star
Unimatrix.
Trek. Yeah, I know, right? But Flesh and Blood is next week.
That's good. I'm a big fan of that two-parter. I think it's underrated actually. But yeah, Unimatrix. I don't know. Like,
what disappointed you about Unimatrix?
What
disappointed you about it?
I think I'm biased on this stuff. Like, whenever it's a 7 of 9 centric episode, it's just like, is this her boyfriend writing for her? And
come on, boobies.
Well, I don't know. Like,
you just have the amazing booby uniform.
Like, what disappointed me is it's like you wanted to do a holodeck episode, but you didn't want it to be about the holodeck, and so you got 7 of 9 and her Borg boyfriend, running with the grass betwixt between their toes. Like, it just, it was like, let's go off to the wonderful forest of love. And
I thought that they could have had it, because they it seems to me like they took the concept of what was it I said? Data dreaming, Hugh, like the virus that they gave Hugh. And then there was one that I was gonna add, and I completely forgot what it was. I think like what you said, holodeck. But they could have done it if they had, like I said before you got here, if they had stuck with the story that they had established with the virus that Hugh had been given, and that somehow it mutated or something and got to the Delta Quadrant via the hive mind and was now affecting the Borg during regeneration.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of this like genetic mutation crap.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, but one would think that in their quest for perfection, they would have bred out or teched out, if you will pardon my use of the word, genetic mutation many centuries before that.
Well,
with all of the species and medical / scientific / whatever technology they've assimilated and all of the things that they've managed to do, you're going to tell me that genetic mutation is going to cause that?
No, I didn't buy it either. And the same genetic mutation across completely different species that have nothing to do with each other.
Yeah.
I get the idea that the idea preceded the cause. Like, we want a bunch of Borg subversively running around in an environment where they're no longer Borg. Now how are we going to make that happen? A wizard did it. They might as well have said. Like,
Abracaborgius. You are now you again.
Yeah. It's not like I completely disliked the whole concept of it. It's like, okay, but make me believe that the Borg Queen sees this as an actual threat, that it disrupts things in the real world, as opposed to, no, you can't have any fun when you're regenerating.
Yeah, like, I know. That's what it totally seemed like. It was just... Good point. It was
Remember the Borg's head on a pike? Like, wow, she's really going far to Like, you know, that was a horrifying image. There's this like decapitated Borg.
Or the live dismantling of the drone who wouldn't tell her the location.
Bit of a horror show.
And it's like the so this is incorporeal, you know, it's all, you know, electronic ones and zeros that are making this happen, with that they're able to connect and communicate in this sort of forest realm. Okay, but then the Borg start materializing in there and reassimilating people. Like, it's just, oh, shut up, stop, this is terrible.
We're gonna reassimilate you even though you're technically still assimilated. And
I do believe that this is a good example of, people say, like, a two-parter that could have been a single episode. This could have been a single episode if it wasn't dragged out so long.
Yeah.
I think the only episode that I dislike worse than this one is The Bride of Chaotica.
Oh, I hate all those.
Excuse me? The Bride of Chaotica is a delightful romp. What are you talking about? I actually like that episode. If you
sounds like I need to go watch that one.
I hate all those
Captain Proton
ones. I just skip them whenever I'm watching the show. I just go to the next episode.
You know what's funny is that both the Captain Proton and from Voyager and from DS9, the Vic Fontaine simulation.
Yeah.
People generally like, oh God, that was just the worst thing. It's in so many episodes. I'm like, I guess I won't talk about that. I really like both those things, huh? For me, with Voyager, it was the what was the Irish seaside
Fairhaven.
town? Fairhaven. Yeah, that's. I'm glad that only ran 2 episodes. Whew.
I only liked the one.
I hate all of those because it takes you out of Voyager. It takes you out of the show into a different show.
Yeah,
that's why I don't like them. If it just. Fairhaven, all of them, all 3 of the concepts. As soon as you get away from the bridge, and I mean, it's okay to go to the holodeck for a little bit of fun for, you know, a couple of minutes, that kind of deal. You know, you want to do Sherlock Holmes or something like that in TNG. Okay, well, yeah, that's okay. You know, they're just exploring the characters. I got that. But to make a whole show about someone who's not even a character in the show, what was the guy's name who owned the bar that she fell in love with?
Michael O'Sullivan.
Yeah. No. Did you get back to the show again?
I enjoyed Doc as a priest, though.
So did I. He took on the role of the. I hope I'm going to see you 2 sinners in church this Sunday. Like, he was a little too good at it. You know?
There were definitely holodeck episodes that worked and made sense along the same line as TNG, but those 3 kind of shows really didn't. Like what was the one where it was like Gilgamesh or something like that? They had a holodeck went crazy, and there was a Viking woman that they all met. And
you mean the Beowulf story with
Beowulf? Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. That was a good holodeck episode because it was about the Voyager characters in the holodeck, not about the characters in the holodeck that the Voyager cast was working with. You know.
Oh, hail Schweitzer!
That was a big girl.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, like, what could have been salvaged from Unimatrix Zero that would have, like, I think there's good core ideas. Like, even the most middling, boring episodes, to me, it's like, yeah, the problem was that was worth a vignette, not an episode, if you know what I mean. Like, Imaginary Friend from TNG is always my go-to example of the ultimate middling episode.
That was it could have been so good because there were parts of that episode that were just creepy as fuck.
There were, and the little girl actress that they hired really did seem evil and malevolent.
She did, yeah.
But it's like, I don't know, it's like an alien taking the form of a child, therefore sees humans as oppressive. That's an interesting core concept. It's very Trek. Okay, what do you do with it? They just kind of run around the ship and stuff and things like.
They pick a girl that you've never met before, so you have no.
Yeah,
there's no backstory.
So it's just I think of it as just like it's not a shit show. Like people talk about like the episodes that are truly bad, you can still watch them for hilarity's sake. I do anyway. Hammer's heard me talk about how much I love season 1 of TNG, and people think it's crap, and I'm like, what? Come on, it's wonderful farce.
There are a few episodes that I really enjoy in TNG in the season 1.
Season 1 of TNG, it's so cringe-inducing.
It is cringe. Some of
great.
it is.
What do you mean? It's a delightful romp. It's
like in Code of Honor when Tasha Yar is fighting that chick and they're both sound like they're coming at the same time, but they're.
But you do get to meet Q right off the bat, and Q becomes vital to the show. 6 episodes he shows up in. You know, so there are things that are established in the first season that you have to have, or the show never gets its feet.
Yeah. And it has Conspiracy, which is one of the top 10 Trek TNG episodes in my opinion.
I watch TNG around the kids, but that's one I will not watch with them in the room yet.
Well, I wonder why. I don't blame you. That'll give me nightmares, and I'm a full-grown man.
Same one with Macrocosm with the giant flying viruses. I won't put that one on with the kids around yet because they're only 4 and 2.
Like it's not just flying viruses, it's flying viruses with a giant stabby needle.
Just shink, like right India. Yeah, pretty much.
I was watching the Up the Long Ladder from season 1, the Drunken Irishman episode.
Season 2.
Yeah, she was hot too. I'm all about girls tonight. I don't know what it is.
Oh yeah, that is season 2.
Something wrong.
Yeah, I think it's
good. That's good.
It was.
Do that again. Do that again.
Do you not like girls?
Oh my God, that's so good. That is so good.
It's like people point at like the stereotypes that were going on in season 1. I don't understand the worst things about Star Trek that you never knew or something like that was the name of the YouTube video I watched.
Oh, okay.
And they named what For the Sake of Honor, Case of Honor. What was the episode with Tashiar fighting the
Code of Honor?
Code of Honor. It's like this is just the worst episode ever because of its obvious racism. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not even trying to be a contrarian. I just don't see it. Because they're all black? Is that like they're an honor-bound society? They're really traditional. All the crew members say we really respect you, and they're not even African. It's like your origins are very Chinese from their perspective. Like,
and
what?
I'm sorry, but if you look at that, the way that they treat their women, the women have a lot more power than it seems at first. Like,
men have no property; they just have patriarchal control. It's the women who own everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, again, I'm actually asking honestly.
My mother is one of those people who thinks it's racist.
I think a lot of that had to do with their dress.
Is that it's just they're all black and they're wearing quasi African space garb, therefore racist? Is that it?
I think that's a lot of it.
Because that's pretty thin.
And I mean, the dude has a bit of an accent, but
that's his legitimate accent, is it not?
It is.
So what's the problem?
So it's like, but I think some people who are closet racists may actually be like, you know, they hired this person and to make them, and they either chose him just because he sounded that way, or like it's
I think they hired him because he's a loud, gregarious dude, and that's what the role called for, and he filled it pretty well, I think.
I would agree.
And they said because he kidnaps the blonde-haired white woman, and I'm like, oh, now you're just reading into it.
Now you're being racist.
You know what I mean? It's like
are you saying only black men only go for blonde white women, and they have to kidnap them to get them? Is that what you're saying? Like,
it's because their view of things in their honor-bound society that a woman would never be the chief of security. That's why they grabbed her, because it was a high prize to show the bravery. They explicitly say that, actually. So
and then they tell Picard, you have to ask for her back.
Yeah, you got me. You got me. It really bugged me where I was like, oh, fuck off, guys. This is political correctness gone crazy.
It is. It totally is.
Why don't you go write an episode with, I'd love to see a bunch of SJWs get together and write a Star Trek episode where the only requirement is the whole planet is populated by black people. All of the people, the aliens there, are going to be played by black actors. Go. I'd love to see the shit they'd come up with.
Yeah.
They'd probably write it as the most peaceful, scientifically advanced, brilliant race within the entire.
They had flying cars.
Yeah, like it was just,
Yeah.
and there was no war. Everything was solved. There was no conflict to solve at all. Everything
Right.
was just, it was a
Everybody
paradise.
is a Mary Sue. Everybody's a philosopher king.
Yeah, and it would be the most boring fucking episode ever.
Yep. Nobody gets in trouble. We don't have trouble here. We're black people.
Well, and the crazy, like, this isn't really about, you know, Matrix Zero, but tangents are fun. The fact that people try and tout, you know, Star Trek now as, you know, herald of SJW, like, oh, like they're touting this female director for the first 2 episodes of the Picard series, and it's the first female person to direct Star Trek series or TV show. And I'm sitting there going, bitch, who cares? They were doing episodes that were tackling serious social justice issues back when social justice issues meant something.
Mm-hmm.
Like the episode Outcast.
Yeah, but being directed by a woman isn't really enough anymore, because it needs to be directed by a trans furry otherkin.
Mm-hmm.
Really, don't you think?
Yeah, that's true.
When you think
I
about it.
I don't think that's true. And here's why. I hear what you're saying. It's like, when you've run out of firsts, what do you say? It doesn't matter. It'll be like only the second woman. I was watching a documentary, and they had a woman on there who was an undercover FBI agent who had since moved on to be a supervisory special agent at the FBI, and then had eventually retired. And she was on stage at a conference talking about an undercover operation that she had going under at in Las Vegas with Anthony Spilatro's crew, like unbelievably violent people. So you got balls going and doing that. That's serious. You know what it said under her name? Like it said like Jane Smith, whatever her name was, and then underneath it, the 67th woman at the FBI to be hired as a special agent. I was like, 67th? Like, not retired supervisory special agent, extensive undercover experience, or, you know, things of actual credit. The 67th woman to be hired as, and so Skep, honestly, it'll never end, is the point that I've come to.
I would agree with you. Being a special agent does not have the prestige at the FBI that being a regular agent has. You realize that special agents are agents who are hired but don't have to go through necessarily. They don't necessarily have to go through the FBI academy. They're hired because they're specialists, because they're very good at some particular thing. And so they're hired by the FBI as special agents. That's why they're called special agents. Now, sometimes they take regular agents who have developed this in expertise, like a regular agent who's going to law school on the side, and they will make them a special agent later. Okay. But being a special agent, it isn't like a glamour thing. It's just, it's more saying that instead of being line, you know, how the Navy has line officers and staff officers. Like, I was a staff officer. I was not a line officer, although I was trained as a line officer. And he added hastily. But you know, I was a supply corps officer. I had further training, and I was a specialized officer, you know, aboard ship. And so I wasn't technically required to stand bridge watches, even though I was highly encouraged to stand bridge watches. But, you know, I could have stood on my, could have said, hey, I'm too busy doing supply stuff. And that's perfectly legitimate. You get right off the watch bill. You get very unpopular, but you get right off the watch bill. But anyway, my point in saying that is that a special agent is just, it means they're a staff officer basically in the FBI, as opposed to a regular line agent who's called a regular agent. I just want to make that clear.
Okay, I just went to the Memory Alpha. Oh, that's funny. Remember when they found Data's head underneath the
Yep, time zero.
Yeah, the one of the heads, the decapitated heads, they used Brent Spiner's head mold to make it, so it looks like Data's sitting there. on one of
That's
the table.
funny.
Data's head is sitting there on the tabletop. There's a little picture of it. I'm like, that's hilarious.
So they just casted his head.
Yep. That because they got his head floating around in Time Zero when they discover his head, right? Because you have Brent Spiner standing there as an actor, and he's got to be holding his own head. So yeah, they molded him, and that actually makes sense. Like we already have this head mold, why not use it? Right? Yeah. Who does anyone remember who Turnell from Star Trek Insurrection? He's one of the Baku guys. That's what's his name's lover. That's from Unimatrix Zero. That's 7 of 9's boyfriend.
Axum. Yeah, Axum is.
Yeah, and I did not make the connection that he's one of the Baku, one of the main Baku in Star Trek Insurrection. Not that Star Trek doesn't have a habit of rehiring repeat actors. I totally get that they are, but
the lady who played the Borg Queen has played like 4 other roles on various Star Treks.
And the guy that plays General Martok, he's used quite a lot. Kern, yep.
Kern also is another person that played a lot of people.
The name Mike Sussman, or Sussman, I've never known how to pronounce it. Longtime writer for Trek, right? You want to hear his original story idea?
What was it?
And we can all collectively lament how much awesomer it is. Okay?
Sure. What was his original? Let's hear it.
The original story, pitched by future Voyager and Enterprise staffer Mike Sussman, was to have featured the return of Seven's father, Magus Hansen. In that version of the story, it would have been revealed that the Borgified Hansen had managed to create a, quote, cyber underground where like-minded drones could meet and plan an insurgency against the collective. Hansen would have called upon his daughter to help in their fight, giving Seven hope that her father might someday be liberated from the collective, as she had been. The producers opted to pursue a romantic story for Seven instead.
Oh, fuck off.
Are you kidding me? Cyber revolt led by Magus himself? Are you fucking serious? That would have been awesome.
That would have been great. What the fuck is wrong with these people?
And I get the idea, right? Like, how does Seven get pulled into this, cyber world, right? And it's like, because that's where the rebellion's happening, and that's how they're all meeting to, instead it's where they, form relationships and run through the grass together.
And the only thing that really, because that doesn't even get her, right? Like the whole thing that whole love thing doesn't even sway her. It's when the Borg Queen goes after the kids that she's just adopted 5 episodes ago, which is like kind of, I guess.
Did anyone else find that a little bit bothersome that there were kids there? And it's like, well, they're in a maturation chamber.
Yes.
So that bothered me because it's like, that means they're semi-conscious in them chambers. That's horrifying. That
concept has been around in Trek since Q Who, because when Riker and them find the nursery, you hear babies crying.
Yeah, he opens up the drawer and there's an actual baby with Borg parts glued on it. I never thought of that before. Yeah, where's their maturation chambers at? But I mean, that was like first Borg episode ever, so whatever, it's fine.
But that would have been so much better.
Yeah.
Fuck, stupid producers.
Yeah, it's interesting. This guy Mike Sussman. He said he credits David Gerrold's book about the making of the episode, and this is one of my all-time Star Trek favorites, The Trouble with Tribbles, as being an influence in his future career. He wrote his first Star Trek story at the age of 8. And while he was attending Florida State University, he took a class in script writing, and he penned a spec script for Star Trek TNG, and it was that script that helped him obtain an internship on the writing staff for Star Trek Voyager. That's how he got into it.
That's pretty cool.
And there's another Mike Sussman who was a TV writer and promoter for the Andy Griffith Show.
Oh.
And And it's kind of the disambiguation page is kind of interesting. But they're both TV people, both they're unrelated, and anyway, just a little bit of weirdism in the world there. Far afield. A bad Borg episode.
Random trivia. I'm asking you guys about this. Like, it says Tom Paris is promoted back to Lieutenant Junior Grey in this episode after being previously demoted to ensign from 30 days, right?
Yep.
Was there ever another demotion anywhere in all of Trek that you can recall? I can't.
I can't.
Oh, I know. I got one. Let's see if anyone else gets it.
Man, I'm going through the officers.
Come on, Hammer. I thought you would have been on this.
I don't know. I can't think of one.
Oh.
I remember I said all of Trek. There's the hint.
Yeah, I know. I'm going. I'm going in order from TOS forward.
Is this going to be some Thailand comic book?
No. It has to be canon. It's
Okay.
Well, the animated series is canon.
Yeah.
So what was? Could you repeat the question just one more time?
There's the demotion that happens in 30 days to Paris, right? Can you recall any other demotion in all of Trek? I couldn't think of one, but when I asked it, all of a sudden one popped into my head.
Okay, so recall a demotion.
A Starfleet demotion.
Starfleet demotion.
I can't think of one.
Star Trek Into Darkness. Decius. He was demoted
That
2
doesn't
steps
count
in
as
rank.
canon to me.
Well,
Canon.
who was actually demoted in
Decius was demoted 2 steps in rank by his commanding officer. He was trying to talk to the Praetor or something.
Right. But that is true. You're.
So I got
be careful. His kinds of friends are dangerous.
Dangerous. Yeah.
The only thing I can think of is that Kirk gets demoted because he.
Yeah.
That's his punishment. He goes down from admiral to captain for stealing the Enterprise.
That's the only thing I can think of.
Actually, it wasn't for stealing the Enterprise. It was for
stealing the Klingon ship.
Disobeying chain of command.
Yeah, it was for refusing an order to halt by a superior officer. Yeah.
Which in the Navy, if you did something like that, you'd be in jail forever.
But he also saved the planet,
Doesn't matter. The Navy doesn't care.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't fucking matter. You could save the universe. You're still going to jail.
Double dumbass on the Navy.
Yeah, they call that the Black Shoe Navy.
But I think that counts. That was a legitimate demotion. I mean, admittedly, it was so they could give him the Enterprise A.
Admittedly, it was what he wanted.
Yeah.
He was like, they're like, as punishment, you're demoted to captain. He's like, yes. I mean, oh shit, damn, that sucks.
Oh gosh, darn.
By the way, hey, I hate to call the party short, but I am actually running the Minions.
I was gonna ask who's doing Minions,
and I would love to have Annie, and I would love to have all of you guys on. Please,
well,
all of you.
I'm for some reason a hyper drunk tonight, so I will hang out with I'll go hang out with Pink Hollow for a bit, and then
then come on.
I'll come and visit.
I'm going to put the link in Showtime, so come one, come all. I would love to have you, but Reject funded the ball to me.
All right.
And,
well,
I gotta go. I just cut myself here, so I got to go put a Band-Aid on.
Fuck. Well, I think we've.
You don't have to do that to avoid being on the show with me.
I just
being on.
No,
I
it's
don't
just
want you to mutilate yourself. That's you got to get help.
It wasn't a mutilation. But what's the old saying? It's dull knives that are dangerous. Yeah, that sharp knife
knives are the most dangerous ones.
Yeah, it was a sharp knife, so it's a nice clean incision. I was cutting open a bag of honey roasted peanuts, and oops.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've covered pretty much all.
We've eviscerated this
Zero.
One.
So I think we'll end it here. Come and watch the Minions, guys, if you're around. It's a good time always. 11:30 Eastern, 10:30 Central, over on the Minions of the Zoo channel. Be sure to tune in tomorrow night for the Blind and the Special. Without jinxing it, knock on wood, Pink Hollow's computer seems to be behaving today. So OBS may possibly work tomorrow.
And the Monday coffee stream is at a new time.
It is. The Monday coffee stream is now at noon.
Oh, nice.
Noon Eastern, 11.
Yeah, it'll noon Eastern, 11 Central, 9 Pacific. So it'll be easier for people to watch, and probably easier for more guests to attend on Fridays. So
unless you're in Hawaii, in which case, why are you watching?
Yeah.
Us?
So with that, guys, thank you for watching. I hope everyone has a great night, and I will see everyone tomorrow. Have a great night, guys.
Hi,
Have a good night,
everybody.
everyone.
Everybody.